Winning is a loser's game. There is a 2005 cartoon by Hugh MacLeod, a semiotic designer or one who studies and renders signs and symbols, called Hierarchy versus Flow, that purports that a company, or any capitalist entity really, takes the shape of a pyramid and is made up of three classes of people: the sociopaths, the clueless, and the losers. I was roaming around X the other day researching data cloud company Snowflake. I am a nerd in other categories as well. And I found the page of Lauren Ballock, a data wrangler, SaaS expert, and investor who is bearish on most things, including snow equities, incidentally. That pointed me to an article called The Gervais Principle, or The Office According to The Office. The article, written by Venkatesh Rao of the Ribbon Farm blog, draws from the MacLeod's cartoon's foundational principles to argue that the popular TV show created by Ricky Gervais mirrors real-life power dynamics and any organizational dysphoria, and argues that organizations don't suffer pathologies, they are intrinsically pathological constructs. The sociopath layer comprises the Darwinian Protestant ethic will to power types who drive an organization to function despite itself. Think Vice President of Sales of Dunder Mifflin Paper Company Jan Levinson and CFO and later CEO David Wallace, who lives in a 5,000 square foot house in Greenwich, Connecticut. The archetype inhabiting the middle, the clueless, which Ballock calls the Kool-Aid drinkers, represents middle management, and in a constant struggle for dominance between the sociopaths and the middle management organization man, the sociopaths defeated the organization men and turned them into the clueless, not by reforming the organization, but by creating a metaculture of Darwinianism in the economy, one based on job hopping, mergers, acquisitions, layoffs, cataclysmic reorganizations, outsourcing, unforgiving startup ecosystems, and brutal corporate raiding. This, of course, is where Michael Scott, Dwight Schrute, and Andy Bernard reside. The losers are not social losers, as in the opposite of cool, but people who have struck bad bargains economically, giving up capitalists striving for steady paychecks. This class likes to feel good about their lives. They are the happiness seekers rather than the will to power players, and enter and exit reactively in response to the meta-Darwinian trends in the economy. But they have no more loyalty to the firm than the sociopaths. See Stanley Hudson and Kevin Malone, for example. The loser also seeks meaning in their lives elsewhere. For instance, for Angela, it is a colorless Martha Stewartish religious life. For Kevin, it is his rock band, Scrantonicity. Pam has her painting ambitions, and Meredith is an alcoholic slut. These people make up much of the fabric of the show, but let's not forget the two most interesting characters, the will he, won't he sociopath in the making, Jim Halpert, and the strange Toby Flenderson, the HR guy. Toby is a curious case, intellectually a sociopath, but without the energy or ambition to be an active sociopath. The Gervais principle is, in a nutshell, this: sociopaths, in their own best interests, knowingly promote overperforming losers into middle management, groom underperforming losers into sociopath, and leave the average bare minimum effort losers to fend for themselves. Another popular business theory that aims to define corporate mayhem is the Peter Principle, from a 1968 book subtitled Why Things Always Go Wrong by Canadian educational scholar and sociologist Dr. Lawrence J. Peter, which states that executives are generally promoted to their level of incompetence, suggesting that something is fundamentally misaligned within the promotion process, and that companies will attempt to negate this effect by inflating the promotion criterion to offset it. The same logic applies to other situations, like how movie sequels are worse than the original film and why second visits to restaurants are less rewarding than the first. Scott Adams put his own spin on this, inventing the Dilbert Principle, asserting that employees who were never competent are promoted to management to limit the damage they can do. In the world of big golf, the sociopaths are the moneyed men who seek to take control of the enterprises that make up the professional sport. John Henry, Arthur Blank, and Steve Cohen of Strategic Sports Group, and Yasser Al-Rumayyan chairman of Saudi Aramco and governor of the Public Investment Fund. The clueless then are the Jay Monahans, the fourth and current PGA Tour commissioner, Keith Pelley's, the orged out about to be former head of the DP World Tour, Martin Slumbers, CEO of the Royal and Ancient, and Greg Normans, the CEO of Live Golf Investments. Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson, the modern elder statesmen of the game, who represent the PGA and Live side respectively, live amongst the clueless, as do the corporate sponsors, other tour and league brass, equipment and apparel manufacturers, and head of the majors and all of the tournaments. So, by default, the losers include just about everyone else: the golf press, the influencers, Instagrammers, TikTokers, posers and creators, the players themselves, and of course the fans. The mysterious class of will they, won't they sociopaths in the making must then be the several player directors that are not named Tiger that make up the PGA Tour Policy Board: Patrick Cantlay, Peter Malnati, Adam Scott, Webb Simpson, and Jordan Spieth. As recently as last week, I took a swipe at Peter Malnati. I surmised that Malnati, in having a seat on the policy board as a 2-year player director, 23 to 25, must have incriminating photos of someone, maybe Monahan, to have his seat, considering that at the time he'd only won once on tour and not since 2015. He is also a director of PGA Tour Enterprises, the amalgamation of the existing tour and the SSG money infusion, alongside the 5 other players and 4 SSG directors: Henry, Blank, Sam Kennedy, and Andrew Cohen, Stephen's son, among others. In something closer to the truth, it may be safe to assume that Malnati is a savvy politician, maneuvering onto the board to provide a voice for the wants and needs of the mule class, another name for the cadre of golfers that don't win much but grind all year long on tour. And then all of a sudden, in this the year of the long shots, the 325 to 1 Malnati outlasted and outbested the field, including Cameron Young, who now frustratingly has 7 runner-up finishes on tour at the Valspar Championship on the 7,209-yard Copperhead course at Innisbrook Resort, known for its famous snake pit on 16, 17, and 18, where tournaments are won and lost. Malnati finished 2 strokes away from Young at 12 under with a 31 on the back nine, won $1.5 million, and automatically earned a spot in the Masters for the first time in his career. What's more, he earned a 2-year exemption. He won't get relegated off tour, and gained entry into the remaining 4 cash-rich $20 million signature events, of which 3 have no cut to the field. AP's Doug Ferguson wrote, "A big part of Malnati is representing the little guy, the career grinders who care just as much about competing without seeing golf through the prism of money, and who raised his trophy, a silly-looking dramatic brushstroke painting a golf ball, for his family and those who supported him, but also for tournaments that aren't signature events in a new era that can leave them wondering where they fit and if they matter. Because someone needs to stand up for the tournaments themselves. Another loser, I guess." As he held his son and cried while being interviewed after he closed the Valspar, Malnati said, "You wonder if we're ever going to win it again. You know, in the 9 years since my last win, it's gotten harder too. So to have this moment, it just feels so amazing." He added, "My family believes in me, and I've got the best caddy. He's been loyal to me a long time through a lot of down times too. I'm just so thankful, so thankful. Life is hard, although it's obviously glamorous in times like this. This is my dream job and it's absolutely amazing, but life is really, really hard too. When you're trying to figure out how to live this lifestyle with 2 kids and you're trying to be everything you want to be, it's really hard. And my wife has been an absolute rock through all of it." The internet reacted. Comments range from, "This is what Liv will never get and why I wouldn't watch 1 second of that crap. The PGA means something. Liv are the Globetrotters of golf, nothing but a sideshow." 2. "The guy won a weak-fielded PGA event. I don't need a Shakespearean soliloquy. Cry me a river." Malnati admirably spent the next few days on a press tour, extolling the virtues of sports heroes like Michael Jordan, impacting the kids that looked up to them. No kid dreamed when they were watching Jordan of having his salary. They didn't care about that. They dreamed of being in that moment, hitting that shot. I think that's what our fans care about too, and that's what they want to see. His broad stroke was that People are just sick of the narrative in golf being about contracts on LIV, purses on the tour, guaranteed comp on the tour. I think people are so sick of that. Veteran golfer Chris DiMarco, a three-time PGA Tour winner and runner-up at the PGA Championship in 2004, the Masters in 2005, and the Open in 2006, joined Colt Knost and Drew Stoltz for their golf show, Subpar, and went all Cousin Greg on them, the nervous, bumbling, ingratiating sycophant from Succession, when he blurted, "We're kind of hoping LIV buys the Champions Tour, where he plays now. Let's play for some real money out here. I mean, this is kind of a joke when we're getting $2 million. There were like 7 guys last week from TPC that made more money than our purses." He was referencing the player money that was doled out at Sawgrass, totaling $25 million. Pundits predictably pounced, including no laying ups, Kevin Van Valkenburg, snickering, "Imagine looking at golf's dwindling TV ratings at the highest level and feeling like you and fellas on the Grandpa Tour deserve more money." DiMarco had a rough day in the Chatterati universe, and one is left to wonder what his life might have looked like had he not lost to Tiger Woods famously at the Masters in 2005. The very next day, Hal Sutton, who won 14 times on tour and spent part of last week alerting authorities that he was not dead after a magazine's obituary blunder, availed himself to PGA Tour radio and Sirius XM, lamenting, among other things, that "I thought legacy meant something, and actually everybody's proving me wrong. It's all dollars." He was quickly lampooned for coming from a rich oil family and then winning $15 million on tour himself. I think he was coming from the right place, though. What a shit show. In other sports, there are legions of fans that never went to college, and some of them didn't because they couldn't afford it, who get offended when other pockets of fans opine that one shouldn't root for colleges that did not attend. This same class of people might also find pro golf and all the money talk distasteful, to say the least. The money, egos, flamboyances, and theatrics are without a doubt a turnoff to many who have also been distracted lately by their own thumbs swiping incessantly left and right across their DraftKings smartphone interfaces while inhaling the NCAA basketball tournaments, or have become swept up into other palace intrigues like the imbroglio surrounding Shohei Ohtani, his degenerate interpreter, and his degenerate interpreters, or perhaps his federally surveilled illegal bookmaker Matthew Boyer, or that of NBA mule Jonte Porter, who the league is investigating because he potentially either made bets against himself or had involvement with anyone that bet against him, in perhaps one of the worst sports betting scandals since legalization began to spread in 2018. Yet, like global politics, TV shows, and frankly real life in 2024, all this golf drama is relentlessly fascinating, strangely invigorating, oddly consuming, and incessantly captivating to people like me, yes, and you, who read and listened to this all the way nearly to the end. What kind of destruction is it all actually wreaking to golf's legacy, history, and tradition on the world sporting stage is very much TBD, as we bequeath who knows what to our kids and grandkids who may or may not be paying attention to anything that looks like sports in 25 to 50 years anyway, opting instead to mine for more Bitcoin while interfacing with their Instacarts via their AI-enabled brain chips, safely traveling to and fro in their hovercrafts on Mars.